ancient future of food.
And I'm Sky Kubby. Welcome to Medicinal-Foods Radio. I'm beaming into you today from Donner Lake, my hometown of Truckee near Lake Tahoe, California, up in the high Sierras. I was conceived in the Sierras, and so I definitely feel at home here. Today's show is about invincible immunity and everlasting energy. First, I'd like to give a shout out to the listeners of Wolf Spirit Radio, American Freedom Radio, and AwakeRadio.us, and the listeners of this podcast rebroadcast. Congratulations for being on the cutting edge of health and wellness and by showing up to listen to my show. I'm honored to be a part of this United We Strike family, riding the airwaves with our great hosts from Switzerland, the UK, Ireland, Chile, and New Zealand. The purpose of this show is to educate and take back our power, take back our sovereignty from the greedy corporations who have kept we the people in a perpetual state of sick care. Early in my life, I had my own healing journey and realized my own mind-body-spirit connection in relation to the food that I put in my body, as well as my water and my lifestyle and my environment. So I created a brand called Medicinal Foods to share what I learned along my quest for health and take a look at some of the products we have over here at medicinal-foods.com. Check out our new CBD bars with 72 milligrams hemp-derived CBD and 0 THC. The testimonials that we've been getting are amazing. We were just at Shakti Fest in Joshua Tree, out in the desert. A woman came to this yoga festival and was in so much pain she couldn't do yoga. She bought a couple of CBD bars and had a square or two and came back the next day and told us that she was able to do yoga pain-free. So I live for these kind of stories. And also check out our Living Greens. This is 10 different fermented veggies and grasses with probiotics and enzymes that is so tasty that my daughter eats it out of the bag. And it has a yummy organic berry flavor. Everything is organic. And one woman at this festival we were recently at Shakti Fest said she felt nourished at a cellular level and that she has superfoods all the time. But this woman, Lindsay, just felt like all of her cells were awakened and activated. So this stuff really works. It's already fermented, so it absorbs right into the cells and tastes amazing. Once upon a time, there was a little boy who loved to catch giant bullfrogs. And that was me at my parents' summer camp that I was born at in the A-frame, as all the campers held hands around the A-frame and sang happy birthday. And I grew up the first few years of my life running naked through the woods and at this New Age summer camp called Earth Camp 1. National Geographic wrote it up as the best summer camp at the time, and people like Tim Leary, Ram Dass, Joan Baez's children went there, as well as my dad's college roommate was Cheech. And growing up hippie definitely had its rewards. I have fond memories of water fights and the girls taking me to the girls' cabin. And however, it was the Southern Cascades. It was we had really cold winters, and I went with my mom's side of the family over to visit upstate New York, Nyack area. And when I came back, I got double pneumonia at 6 months old, and I was the boy in the bubble. And I was probably pumped so full of antibiotics that it wiped out my first level of defense, and I spent the rest of my life trying to heal and rebuild from that. So what I learned along my quest for health, I'm going to share with you today in regards to invincible immunity and everlasting energy. One of the most important things that we need to look at as far as our immunity and energy is rest and relaxation. I mean, if you're not getting enough rest, your body treats it as if you have a terrible illness. So going to bed before 10 o'clock is a good thing. The Ayurvedic cycles of cleansing happen during that time. If you make it to the period past 2 o'clock, you drop into what the Vedic dosha cycle of vata is, and then you're able to go to sleep again. The kapha cycle of the day is during 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock. So that's when you start to get heavier and more tired and more sleepy. If you make it past 10 o'clock, you start going into the pitta cycle. That's a more energizing cycle. That's why you get a big boost from 10 to 2. And I remember going to school at my dorm at the university. Everyone would party until about 2 o'clock and then and eat pizza and do all these things to their body. And then at 2 o'clock, people would finally get to sleep. So try to get to bed before 10 o'clock. It can mean the world of difference. Rest, relaxation, that also means meditation. Now, how many of you listening meditate? How many of you listening meditate regularly? Okay, well, we're just going to drop in right now with a little meditation. So if you can, if you're not driving, close your eyes, uncross your legs, inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose, and focus your energy at the air where your nose is, the air flowing into your nose, and focus on that region as you inhale and exhale. This single pointed focus can help you to relax and calm. If you start to expand your awareness from your nose, inhaling and exhaling, you can focus your awareness on your lungs and start to observe your belly expanding as you inhale and feel the air going into your lungs. If you start to get distracted, just bring your awareness back to your nose and the area around your nose where the air is flowing through. We can move a bit further into a Dzogchen meditation. That's DZOG-CHEN. Dzogchen meditation is a very powerful Buddhist meditation that you can imagine you're in a river looking up, and the river is flowing through your mind. You have clear water flowing through your mind. So when you get a distracting thought, let it just flow down the river. Just imagine this clear water flowing through your mind. Any thought that's coming up is just flowing down the river. Now, what this process will do is bring you to a state, definitely changing your brain waves, but you may get to a state after practicing this where you will actually have an original thought. Not a thought put into us by the media or by our environment around us, but from our more of a special place, your deep core, more closer to source, maybe from your guides or maybe from your higher self. So as you practice this kind of meditation, you can just tune in for 5 minutes in the morning, and you can expand that time to, say, 15 minutes. This is a very powerful way to set the day, set the tone of the day, and experience a shift. There's no doubt starting the day with a little bit of meditation can have a profound shift in the way we experience our day. So you may wish to continue with your eyes closed, but you can open them if you like now. And just notice how you're feeling, focusing on your breath for a little bit. Feeling a little better? All right, well, the next step in invincible immunity and everlasting energy is looking at what the hardest thing our body has to do, and that's digest food. Okay, we cram this stuff into our body like it's a garbage disposal, and at the end of the day, we expect it to be all taken care of. So what we want to do is look at how to ease that digestion to increase our digestive fire. We want to look at our ability to food combine in a proper way. So just to make it really simple for you, just imagine a pyramid, and the two sides of the pyramid or triangle is vegetables on vegetables at the top of the pyramid with proteins on one side at the base and starches on the other side. The starches combine great with the veggies as long at the top of the pyramid, and the proteins on the other base side of the pyramid combine well with the veggies. So proteins and veggies, as long as they're non-starchy veggies, we're talking about greens, not like potatoes. Proteins and veggies combine great. And starches like pastas and breads, if you are doing that, then that combines grains, combine great with vegetables. Either way, it's great to look at doing a 2/3, or let's just say 80-20 rule, 80% veggies with 20% protein. If you have a big salad with some sardines or fish on there and a scoop of sauerkraut to help it digest, that's perfect. If you do have a grain meal, rice for example, then try doing 80% veggies and 20% rice, and your body will love you for it. So food combining also has to do with, digestive fire can be helped greatly with the use of Ayurvedic herbs, spices, khichdi. There's a great khichdi recipe at medicinal-foods.com at the blog section. And you can infuse your ghee or oils with some of these spices like cardamom and clove and cinnamon that help spur on the digestive fire. So this is one of the basic things you can do, but we're going to get into some really cutting edge stuff on how you can just keep your immune system and energy super strong. So hang in there. And one thing that my family does to keep us super healthy is if someone's starting to come down with some kind of illness, starting to have a tickle in the back of the throat, we do the blast. The blast is garlic, ginger, onion, turmeric, hot pepper, apple cider vinegar, all blended up. It tastes very strong, very potent, but it will blast out any kind of microbes or anything starting to happen. Usually it can prevent the cold. So what you do is you take ginger and turmeric, and the amounts really don't matter. Just use your intuition. Some chunks of ginger, some chunks of turmeric. If all you have is powder, then fine. Fresh is better. Fresh onion, a hot pepper, blend it up, and with apple cider vinegar. It's going to be strong, so my daughter, she chases it with a little bit of honey. You can use honey if you like, but that's a really powerful tool. The blast, as well as, by the way, a doctor recently just came out with this same formula but fermented. So if you mix this up, set it on your counter, it'll start fermenting within a few days if it's warm, and that just enhances the activation of all these medicinals going into your body. I mentioned the living greens before, and this is something that is very similar as far as a fermented thing, and the concept of fermented foods creating probiotics and enzymes. So speaking of enzymes, the next thing that you can do if you have somewhere you got to go, something you've got to do, you just cannot get sick, get some powerful enzymes. Like I suggest Wobe enzymes. They're made in Germany. They're very expensive, but they're concentrated papain and bromelain from pineapple, and they work really well. They can just blast through, wipe out a whole bunch of mucus. A lot of times these undigested proteins and mucus, we kind of get allergic to them as they're in our body, and they perpetuate this kind of irritation. On that note, irritation from common allergies can be alleviated. What I've found is MSM. MSM can help with just the kind of side irritations that can go on. So check that out. Now, we're going to get into my favorite topic when it comes to your immune system, and that's medicinal mushrooms. Think about reishi, for example, is one cell wall thick, and it's sitting out there in the forest. Nothing can touch it. And in fact, the reishi looks like it's painted with shellac, and it's glossy and beautiful. And its immune system, its immunity passes on to us. So the kind of reishi that I like to work with is the nano reishi from Medicinal Foods, and it's 100 times more potent than wild reishi. Now, why is it more potent? It has to do with the polysaccharide and beta-glucan count. These are the immune system, immune activating aspects of the mushroom. Ours are grown on GMO, gluten-free substrate, like rice, for example, and it's grown in a way that is super pure in a lab, and the mycelium, the life force of the mushroom, is then extracted out with less than 1% substrate. We also grow the black, the purple, the red, and the white reishi in 4 equal portions. So it's very potent. The white reishi is some of the rarest reishi. And then it's hot water extracted and then micronized. A lot of mycelium powders you can get out there. It's just kind of ground up mycelium, and I don't even know how healthy that is for you. It's mushrooms throughout the times, throughout history, have been hot water extracted. There's other forms of extraction like alcohol extraction, but that can be more for like the spiritual benefits. We're going after the immune benefits right now. Reishi is very powerful for your Shen, Qi, and Jing, the 3 treasures. It hits on all 3 of the Chinese Taoist and traditional Chinese medicine system. The Qi is your energy, and the Jing is your like life force, and the Shen is the spiritual aspect. So reishi is just so amazing because it hits all of those. It gives you this deep, kind of centered, calm, and yet energizing experience. So the Cordyceps mushroom is the next one I'll talk about. It's been used traditionally for, well, throughout time, both of these mushrooms were like reserved for the kings and queens. And the Cordyceps especially is picked off of the head of a caterpillar. This mushroom myceliates the caterpillar in the Tibetan highlands, and it climbs to the top of the grass, and people go out in the fields and pick them. Right now it's becoming an ecological problem out there. So we, as far as sustainability and everyone going into the lands and harvesting these caterpillars, we grow them in a lab at low temperature and low oxygen to simulate the Tibetan highlands. So it's also the strain that's highest in cordycepin. Nowadays, a lot of times people use cordyceps for performance enhancing. A lot of athletes use it because it increases oxygenation, up to 30% increase in ATP production as well. Adenosine triphosphate is our energy source, and to be able to take something that increases your energy production by 30%, I mean that's incredible. It's traditionally used as an aphrodisiac, and it does get things going. And as we know, as far as the immune system goes, pathogens can't exist in an oxygen-rich environment. So increasing your oxygenation can be incredible for that. Having a history myself of asthma and lung infections, they say your greatest challenge can become your greatest strength. And for me, I turn that around to struggling for my breath at night to freediving over 100 feet in Hawaii. And when I'm down there and I had taken the cordyceps powder before, I definitely feel like I've got an extra lung. So it's really something that you can feel right away. You don't want to take it at night because it might keep you up. The reishi is a great thing to keep it to take at night. My daughter eats the reishi right out of her hand. I pour a little bit in her hand and she makes a frowny face, but then if I fill up her hand, she's happy and she eats that reishi powder. What's great about the Medicinal Foods reishi is that the taste is formulated for smoothies and elixirs, whereas reishi normally is really bitter if you're familiar with it. This one has a kind of a malty taste. So if you mix reishi with, say, milk or almond milk, in Hawaii we've got the macadamia nut milk, then it becomes this amazing malty kind of shake. So that's one of my go-to drinks out there when I'm ready to just kind of get energized, and also if I feel that irritations that I was talking about, Reishi's really good at kind of clearing those little irritations, red eyes, for example. We've been at events and people have come up, events at hotels with just red eyes, barely even able to open their eyes, and I've given them a little bit of reishi and they've come back in 4 minutes saying, oh my God, my eyes feel amazing and that irritation has just gone away. So that's pretty cool. The cordyceps mushroom nourishes the qi and jing, where the reishi does the qi, jing, and shen. So just so we can understand what we're talking about here, the jing is equated to like a candle. And what happens when you burn the candle at both ends? Well, the candle is your life force. It's what the jing is what you get from your parents, and it's passed on. However, you can supplement the jing, and cordyceps is a great way to do that. It's super powerful. And the qi is like the candle wick, the flame of the candle. The light that's emitted is the shen, the spirit. So these are things that we thought of when we developed our tonic herbal formulas. We have a spirit tonic that nourishes the shen, the qi tonic for energy, and there's the womb yin nutritive love tonic. It's my wife's favorite product, and that's something that we actually are making available soon as a granulated instant, so it instantly dissolves in your tea. Right now you got to stir it up a little bit, but today's society wants instant. So you can take a look at those tonic herbal formulas. The spirit tonic is in relation to this show and rest. I developed the spirit tonic for meditation, but it seems like a lot of people are using it to just chill out and calm down at the end of the day. I know my head can get just spinning, and I use it at the end of the day to just kind of tranquilize my mind and just get me relaxed and ready for a good night's sleep. So the qi tonic can be used throughout the day. It's got powerful energy qi herbs like astragalus, and the Womb-Yin Nutritive Love Tonic for women. It just keeps things juicy. It has things like Schizandra, which is the 5-flavor fruit that penetrates all the meridian lines and brings more of the yin to the women's organs. This is a gentle aphrodisiac that builds the fluids for release at just the right moment, if you know what I mean. The love tonic is definitely gentle. It has a lot of beauty herbs like lychee, pearl, and goji berry, with the polysaccharides in there, really great for the skin. And women have just said they feel beautiful after taking the love tonic, which is pretty amazing because, and then again, it's expected. It's I understand it as the innate intelligence of the herbs communicating with our bodies, which have evolved for millions of years with these herbs. Our bodies recognize it, and this is my wife's favorite product. She takes the Love Tonic, eats it right out of the bag, and so it surprised me for a woman to say, "I feel beautiful," in a real matter-of-fact kind of humble way. I didn't expect to hear that, but then it does make sense because these herbs are working at those levels that traditionally these ancient Taoists and Chinese herbalists for thousands of years sought the intelligence of these herbs. So they do really work. One of the taglines of medicinal foods is feeding your potential, the ancient future of food. So we like to work with stuff that's totally cutting edge, and one of my go-to products, and for many people over the years, is Megahydrate. And this is not our product. It was designed by Dr. Patrick Flanagan, an Einstein-level genius who wrote the first book on pyramid power. Some of you may be familiar with him. He designed patents for NASA when he was 12 years old. He designed a human-dolphin interface so that we could communicate with dolphins. He is supposed to be the reincarnation of Tesla. This guy is so brilliant, he's been able to figure out how to make the world's most powerful antioxidant. When you think about the essence of free radical scavenging, which is the essence of what antioxidants do, if you have an ascorbic acid molecule, a vitamin C molecule, it's the size of a football stadium compared to a tiny dot in your hand. If you were standing in the football stadium, that would be the size of the Megahydrate molecule. So this Megahydrate, it's a white powder that that if you can imagine that dot in your hand and the football stadium of the vitamin C molecule, they each have one negatively charged hydrogen electron. And when it gives up that electron, it becomes, that's free radical scavenging. That's what an antioxidant does. It gives up that electron, but then it becomes a free radical. So that football stadium size vitamin C molecule has to be escorted out of the body. It has to leave the body, and that's not an easy thing. Compared to a tiny dot in your hand, if you're standing in the football stadium, that is the Megahydrate molecule that goes to every nook and cranny of your body and alkalizes your bioterrain and brings with it the hydrogen, the fuel of life that is abundant in fresh fruits and vegetables. Citrus, for example, has tons of hydrogen. That's why some fresh squeezed orange juice is loaded in hydrogen, and you feel that boost, you feel that energy. After you pick the oranges or fruits and vegetables, whatever it is, the hydrogen content starts dissipating. So that's why it's so important. If you are able to have the luxury to grow your own fruits and vegetables, there's a lot more mana. There's a lot more, like we say in Hawaii, a lot more energy and hydrogen. Hydrogen is the fuel of life. That's why our sun is, a hydrogen reactor. So what this does for you is it works in the Krebs cycle where your body converts ADP, adenosine diphosphate, to ATP, adenosine triphosphate. And what do you need to convert ADP to ATP? Abundant amounts of hydrogen. So I was turned on to this product at a bar in Las Vegas where my friend took me out for a beer. I wasn't really drinking much beer at the time, but I humored him. He said he's got something very exciting to show me. And we sat down and he opened up one of these Megahydrate capsules into his beer and one into mine. The beer foamed up and then turned clear. And he said that it would remove all the negative aspects of the alcohol, as well as tobacco, caffeine, and enhance all the positive aspects of it. So that's what it does. Being the world's most powerful antioxidant, it's probably the best hangover cure you can imagine, but it also keeps you hydrated, whereas alcohol dehydrates you. So a lot of what he said makes a lot of sense. And I use Megahydrate as much as I can. Just before I flew out, I go on flights. Then I take a couple Megahydrate before and after. If you do that, a lot of people just don't experience jet lag. So that's some really exciting stuff that we do have some Megahydrate at the at Medicinal Foods. At the website there, we should have some available, medicinal-foods.com. But with its ability to alkalize the bioterrain, this is another way we can keep our immune system up, because once we start going acidic, that's when we start getting into trouble. If you pick up some pH papers, you can order them online. Just search for pH paper, and you can test your urine or saliva and see what your pH is at. You'll be surprised when you start, a lot of soft drinks, for example, are super acidic. All of them are. And a lot of nuts and meat and different things are acidifying. So you start to tune in with what is acidic, what is alkalizing. You've got sea vegetables that are extremely alkalizing. Cucumbers and celery and things like that can keep you super alkalized. And when you are alkaline, you just feel great. You feel light. You feel like you're walking on air. So start tuning into your levels of acidity, and Megahydrate can really help with keeping you alkaline. On the theme of, because the Megahydrate molecule is at a nano level, we like to work with things that are extremely small so that they have the ability to absorb into your body in a way that is easy. And it's all about absorption. A lot of us have a thick mucosal lining on our intestinal wall, and so we don't absorb very much food. So we want to make it nutrients. We want to make it as easy as possible to absorb. One thing you can do to help with that is get our Cacao Elixir and put chia seeds in there. Chia is a Mayan word for strength, and it expands 14 times its size. When you do it with a chocolate superfood smoothie, then you have a natural colon cleanser that's yummy, and you end up clearing out a lot of that undigested material. And who doesn't want to drink a chocolate superfood smoothie every day? So it's something that you can transition into some deeper cleansing with. I'm trying to make cleansing more fun, because I realize that if you don't start, then you don't experience the amazing results. So you can replace a meal a day with our Cacao Elixir. It's got maca, mucuna, ashwagandha, chlorella, spirulina, and hemp protein. So it has this mood enhancing effect where you actually experience this heightened sense of awareness. It has an MAO inhibitor in the cacao, in the ashwagandha, and the mucuna. So it inhibits the breakdown of all your neurotransmitters, your tryptamines, and it ends up building up endorphins and neurotransmitters in your brain up to 1,000-fold, and can be quite an amazing experience. At the Shakti Fest we were just at, someone came up and said they had their first visionary experience. We're so distracted these days with the media and movies and television and all the screen time that we don't tune into our inner visions. And this guy, for the first time, he said that he experienced himself in this temple with tiger's eye all around, floating up into the temple. And, he had just had this Cacao Elixir right before. So it can really help with that. Cacao shamans knew what was up thousands of years ago, and they incorporated a lot of these similar types of medicinals in with their cacao brew. They use mucuna, they use maca. Mucuna is 15% L-Dopa, at least the mucuna we use, which your body converts to dopamine. And the ashwagandha is the Indian Ayurvedic equivalent to ginseng. They call it Indian ginseng. And so moving on to another cutting edge tool in the nano realm is the Nano Silver. This is not colloidal silver. Colloidal silver stays in the body. That's why they call them the blue bloods, or why some people have ingested too much colloidal silver and their skin has turned blue. It's not really a danger unless you go way too overboard with it. The Nano Silver is all out of your body within 24 hours. We have all the clinical data to show that. And it's covalently bonded to water. So your body thinks it's water, and it goes to every nook and cranny of your body, like the Megahydrate. And every pathogen that it's been tested with, the Nano Silver has killed every pathogen that it's been tested. That's so powerful. I mean, as far as having a tool that you can use for your immunity, we need silver in our body anyways. Every day, the topsoil is being depleted, and we're just not getting the micronutrients, the trace elements that we're used to. Silver is one of them. We need about 50 micrograms of silver. So the silver that I use, that Dr. Rima, who is also a host on this radio show, uses, as well as many other people who have experienced it working very profoundly on MRSA staph, for example, out in Hawaii. The only thing we found that really wipes out MRSA staph is this Nano Silver. I got MRSA and I used the extract of the cannabis. It's the Rick Simpson oil, some of you are familiar with, and yes, that did get rid of the MRSA staph. However, it took a long time. It was very sticky. In a lot of places, it's illegal and expensive. So the Nano Silver you can get on our site. It's, I think, $29 for a 16-ounce bottle. Dr. Rima used it on herself, and she experienced, after 3 days of using it, that she was able to wipe out malaria. So that's a really powerful story. Even more powerful is that Dr. Rima has been working with people to get the Nano Silver into South Africa when the Ebola outbreak happened. It turns out that the Minister of Health for Sierra Leone had to kick out the WHO and the FDA and say, our people have a right to take a nutritional supplement. It took months for the shipments of Nano Silver that they sent there for free to arrive because it kept getting confiscated. And when you look at the documentation, the CDC created the Ebola and actually showed what works to defeat it, and it's Nano Silver. So those documents are available, and you can sorry, it was the DOD, I believe, that it shows on the documents that the Nano Silver defeats the Ebola. So the point is that after a little bit of time, within a month after the Nano Silver got there to Sierra Leone and these countries in South Africa, Ebola disappeared. So these are some very powerful tools. You can use a capful just as a maintenance dose, or you can do like Dr. Rima and take a whole ounce shot of the Nano Silver. I think she did it for her malaria a few times a day, about an ounce. Getting a 16-ounce jar, having it in your medicine cabinet to, again, take back our power and maintain our sovereignty when it comes to our health and wellness is such an empowering thing to know that we have tools like this that really work. The Nano Silver also comes in a gel. and you can use that topically. That's what we would use for like a MRSA staph outbreak. I would take it internally and externally if you have something like that going on. But it's also amazing for being able to wipe out a yeast infection. We have laboratory data that shows it working within hours on yeast infections. So Candida is also a form of yeast, and one of the most tenacious things to try to get rid of, if you use the Nano Silver on the Candida, I've personally experienced it being super helpful. But for example, a lot of times when you look at the parts per million, the lower the parts per million, in this case with the Nano Silver, it only takes a few parts per million for this stuff to really work. One of the most tenacious things and the highest parts per million of what it takes with the Nano Silver is up to 10 parts per million, they say, to wipe out Candida. However, the lab data I've seen shows it much lower, I believe around 3 parts per million. So I have interviewed Dr. Keith Moeller on this radio show, as well as our producer Matt Navarro has interviewed Keith, and he had a lot of amazing things to say. You can see that interview at our blog archive, the podcast rebroadcast at medicinal-foods.com. And as we start wrapping it up here, I just want to give you as much as I can about getting your immunity together and your energy, because I mean those are some serious assets. We can't afford these days to have dysfunctional immune systems taking us out. I know being up here in Tahoe, I'm reminded of when I told my mom about the medicinal mushrooms first, and her partner builds $1-million houses up here in Tahoe, and every year he would have to take out a week or two from work because of being sick. In the first year, he started taking the medicinal mushrooms and this Nano Silver. It was amazing because he didn't get sick. He didn't have that time out. So getting sick, it's if that happens, it's okay. A lot of times our body needs to use that time to purge and cleanse out a lot of mucus, and I know every year at the changing of the seasons, usually when I would get sick for months because my immune system was so compromised. But when you start using some of these tools and you start reclaiming your health, what I'm realizing now after being this far on my healing journey is that when I do get sick, sometimes it's only for a day. And now I experience what it's like when most people would get sick when I was had such a chronic illness for so long, and it would take me out for so long, and I'd see normal people get sick and it wouldn't seem to really faze them. But it's no fun. So use some of these tools. Use your intuition is what I want to say. Start tuning in with how you're feeling. When you kind of feel yourself pushing it and you're tired, lay down, put a towel over your eyes, and so it's dark, and you might just pass out for a couple hours. When you wake up and you're feeling a little tired, put a towel over your eyes so that it blocks out the light. And oftentimes I fall asleep for another hour or two. If you have that time, if you have that luxury, use it, because it's your body telling you that you need that extra sleep. Go in the sun. As far as our hormones and our mood and our feeling of well-being, the sun is the only place we're going to get certain nutrients. And even though they have vitamin B and D, vitamin D patches, then they don't cut it like the sun does. The sun can be your number one tool to having great emotional energy, and as far as balancing hormones, having great sleep and as much exposure to sunlight as possible is great. You don't need to use sunscreen. You can use things like coconut oil, although you have to apply it a lot, and shea butter, for example, but you should apply it probably every half an hour. Or use natural sunscreens, but try to be exposed in the sun as much as possible because you'll feel amazing. Now, some other practices you can do to attain invincible immunity and everlasting energy is one of the things is soaking and saunaing and scrubbing your skin to move that lymph. The lymph doesn't move by itself. You got to exercise to move the lymph. There's little one-way passages in there, and swimming is an incredible way to have low impact exercise. Rebounding is also low impact on jumping on a little trampoline, building bone density like that to just move that toxins out and through your body. Soaking in hot springs ideally, but hot water, a bath. You can put Epsom salts in there, essential oils, and saunaing to move out those toxins through the skin. Those are all other amazing things you can do. As far as the medicinal mushrooms go, one mushroom we didn't talk about was Chaga mushroom, and that's the Siberian longevity superfood, which is kind of a dark, black, rich, coffee-like looking. It's actually a black mushroom that grows on the side of a tree, like ours grows on Michigan birch, and we also grow mycelium that it's half Michigan birch and half GMO organic mycelium that is all hot water extracted and micronized to this nanoparticle size. But chaga traditionally supports healthy skin and hair and eyes, super anti-inflammatory, helps digestive health and blood sugar levels. Chaga is the food the highest in antioxidants besides cacao, of course, raw cacao. It's a great anti-stress herb as well, adaptogenic like that. But you want to check out our chaga at medicinal-foods.com. It'll also help with detoxing and immunity because it's a super high antioxidant food. Other foods that can help are, we talked about goji as part of our herbal blend. It's got protein in it, zeaxanthins for the eyes. It's high in lithium, so it's literally like happy food. And it has 19 amino acids and 21 trace minerals. A lot of people have ailments because of nutritional deficiencies. So having your trace minerals are great. Having some trace mineral drops and just putting them in your water are some more ideas. So I'm just throwing out as much as I can in these last few minutes so we can get your immune system as boosted as possible and get you that energy. You know, when it comes to the tonic herbs, the ancients said to eat tonic herbs in copious amounts, except we don't want to sit there and chew on a bunch of bark and stem. And it's something where having these tasty herbs in a blend, like with our medicinal foods, tonic herbal blends, just makes it easy to throw it in your smoothie and receive it in large amounts in grams, not milligrams. So we're beyond the days of take 2 and call me in the morning. Now it's like take 10,000 milligrams and take 10 grams and email me next week. So that's what we want to look at, is the idea of being able to add things to our diet that can help us and not really have to go on a starvation diet. But let's see, other foods that can help you out. Let's see. As far as detoxing heavy metals, you want to look at things like cilantro is very detoxing like that. Just a little bunch of cilantro or just putting cilantro in your salad. One of my go-to things in Hawaii is Olena, turmeric. So anti-inflammatory. It's incredible. If you can mix a little bit in your ghee, as you're melting the ghee, you put the turmeric in there to infuse the oil along with some other herbs. Again, check out that kitchery recipe at our blog site, medicinal-foods.com. Humic and fulvic acid, great detoxifier with they're like minerals straight from the riverbank. There's a lot of that in the Shilajit. If you ever can get a Shilajit product, they vary in consistency, but and vary in quality. But if you can get the Shilajit, the blacker the better. It's basically like ancient minerals that have turned into this paste, literally bubble out of the ground in the Himalayas, and is actually antiviral. Chlorella is one of those highest chlorophyll foods that is detoxing to the colon. There's 40 times more of chlorophyll, for example, than in like wheatgrass. So go for the chlorella. We put the chlorella in I put it in the Cacao Elixir, so it's already in there. But yeah, the ashwagandha I mentioned is like a super root that helps with hormones for men and women, and I think that's about it that I'm going to share as far as foods, and it's about as much time as we have for this episode. But happy boosting your immune system and creating energy. Try out some of these tools. Get some Megahydrate. There's a crystal energy product that goes with that literally makes water wetter. So you can take half of all the nutrients and stuff you're taking because it absorbs better, allowing the nutrients to come into the cell and the waste to come out of the cell. I meant to mention that one. The Crystal Energy and Megahydrate are both by Dr. Patrick Flanagan. Try some of the Nano Silver and start boosting with some of these medicinal mushrooms. So it's been great sharing Invincible immunity and everlasting energy with you. I hope it helps you along your healing journey. And, we're doing all this to be able to feel good in our bodies so we can get to those higher levels in that meditative states. Really, we got to do our inner work here and clear things from an emotional, mental, and spiritual levels. So it's just challenging to tackle that when we're diseased in our body and where our immune system and our energy is so compromised. So just think about that as for your own, along your own quest for health, that we all want to evolve here, and we want to move forward, and a lot of our limiting belief systems and projections and judgments, guilt, shame, fear, blame, all that stuff, we can let it go, and it's easier to let it go when you feel great in your body. So do your body a favor, do your spirit and soul a favor as well, and take some of this to heart.